Hi there, Meekji here. We're going to be doing my May wrap-up, June TBR. I'm super excited because I read some awesome books and I'm going to be reading some awesome books. I managed to finish a whole 8 books this month, which is like, I think a record this year. I don't think I've read that many books in 1 month so far. I was doing pretty good in the month of May. I am recording this a few days early, but I don't think I'm going to be finishing any more books because I'm not really far into anything yet. But let's get started. First book up is A Court of Wings and Ruin, which I'm getting this book out of the way even though I didn't finish it first, but I feel like everyone read this book this month. And I've heard some really conflicting things about it, but I really loved it. Like, I gave it a 5 out of 5. I feel like this was an awesome ending to these characters. I thought the story was great. I didn't find, like, really anything wrong with it. And then I started hearing why other people were hating on it, and I didn't think any of those things when reading this book. So I'm not basing my opinion on those issues because they didn't affect me. I enjoyed the story. I thought it was really good. I thought it flowed well. I was never bored. And the ending was awesome. Everything about it was awesome. So I gave it a 5 out of 5. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you liked it, if you think this hype is worth it, and if you think other people are just overreacting with their opinions on the issues with this book. Next, I read my Owl Crate book, Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. Now, I still have not read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which I know I need to, but so this is a story about a girl named Molly that has had a bunch of unrequited crushes, but then again, she doesn't really go after these crushes, so you can't really say they're unrequited. This is basically the story of the first time she starts getting crushed back on. Does that make sense? I don't know. People start crushing on her as well as her crushing on people, and it's kind of the story of her first real romantic relationship with people, and it's also a coming-of-age story. It's a fluffy contemporary. It kind of got me anxious at some points because the character goes through some things that, like, I remember going through when I was a teenager and first started dating, and it's like things I'm glad I don't feel anymore, and I'm not in the dating scene anymore, thank God. But I'm just glad I don't have to feel that way anymore. Jealousy and all that nonsense. I don't have a reason to be jealous, do I?
No.
But anyway, besides that, I mean, which it's a good thing that I felt that way while reading this because it means that you were connecting with the character and connecting with the story. But I really ended up liking it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a good, fluffy contemporary and a good quick summer read if you guys are looking for one. I then read A Beautiful Terrible Thing by Jen Waite. I got an advanced reader copy of this, but it was an ebook copy. So I did put a full review on my Goodreads page, which we'll link down below if you're interested. But this story was so dark. Like, it's really about a woman that finds out that her husband is not who she thought he was and that he's basically crazy. Not crazy, but he's got issues. It's her story of how she finds out about this stuff. It talks about their backstory, and then it goes back and forth between the past and present of, you know, how their relationship used to be versus how it is now. But I thought it was really kind of nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing, which I guess is what the point of the book is, because that's what the author went through with this. I forgot to mention, this is actually kind of a memoir of what the author went through. So this is, you know, not an autobiography per se, but she actually went through this stuff, and kudos to her for writing it down because it was some pretty crazy stuff. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5. It was enjoyable enough to finish, but I don't know if it's necessarily my style of book. If you like mental health issues and, you know, reading about stuff like that, then it might be up your alley, but yeah. Next, I got Violet Grenade by Victoria Scott. I will be doing a full review video on that, which we will link for you. And I did a full review on Goodreads for that one as well if you want to know more about it. So it's basically a story about a homeless girl who's looking for companionship and friendship and any kind of relationship. And her journey to get there. It does have some really dark things in it if you are triggered by violence and sexual violence and things like that. But like I said, have a full review video. Check that out if you're interested. I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, really like a 3.75. Then I finally read Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. As I've told you guys before, I'm going through all of the Shadowhunter books because I never read them before, but this one is book 2 in the Infernal Devices series, and I liked it better than the first one. I'm not so sure I super enjoyed the way it ended. I still gave it a 4 out of 5 because the story was really good and I really enjoyed it, but there's things that I want to happen in the next one that I really hope happen, and I'm gonna kind of be upset if they don't. But yeah. Then I read Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I actually listened to this on an audiobook. And I know it's like a super popular book, but people do have very mixed feelings about it. I cannot see myself continuing on with this story. I liked the book enough where I got through it, but it wasn't very catching to me. There was nothing about it that was like, oh my god, I love this story. And I couldn't really connect with the characters, and I didn't really care about the romances. Am I alone in this? Like, let me guys know what you think about this book, and if I should continue on. Like, if I feel this way about the first one, should I really continue on to the next one? I don't know. I feel like it had good meat to it, so like it could have been a really cool story, but it just wasn't written to my likings per se. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 because I finished it and because I liked it enough to finish it, but I just really don't think I'm going to continue on with the series. But like I said, let me know what you think. Then I read Wonder Woman Warbringer. I got an advanced reader copy of this from the publisher, and it doesn't come out until August 29th. I did do a full review video for this as well, so we will link that for you once it's up. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I super recommend it if you like DC characters or if you like Leigh Bardugo in general, because it was a really cool coming-of-age origin story of Wonder Woman. And I knew nothing about Wonder Woman going into it, and I super...
Get it? Super?
I knew nothing about Wonder Woman going into it, and I really enjoyed the story. I thought everything about it was great, but I don't know how a diehard fan is going to feel. I ended up giving it a 5 out of 5. I really recommend that you guys check it out when it does come out. And lastly, I read Secrets of Skin and Stone by Wendy Lane. I had an ebook version of this. It comes out June 5th. It's basically a paranormal romance mixed with some mental health stuff. Trigger warning, if you don't like cutting and like OCD, then don't read it. It's basically about this small town in Alabama where a lot of crazy things are happening, and then in comes the paranormal guy that's gonna save the town, and then he meets up with this girl that's got issues, and I really feel like the romance in this story wasn't up to par. Like, I didn't really care about the romance. Nothing was super like tingly or anything like that. If you want to know my full opinion, I did a full review on Goodreads for this one as well. I feel like this author really created like a neat world and some really cool paranormal creatures. I ended up giving this book a 3 out of 5. I feel like it was good enough where I finished it, and it definitely had some moments where I was like, oh, I need to know what happens next, but it could have been more, and the romance definitely could have been more. Maybe that's just the hopeless romantic in me. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think if you read it. On to my June TBR. So far, I just started this book, an ebook version of I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. I think of that song every time I think of that. I don't know much about this book. Like I said, I just started it, but it comes out May 30th. It's a contemporary romance, coming-of-age type story, fluffy, fun read, so I'm looking forward to it. That's really all I know about it. I'll let you guys know what I think later. The next thing I want to read is The Hundredth Queen by Emily King. I was sent a completed copy of this book to give you guys my review. I just started it. I don't really know anything about it yet. I know it's a fantasy story about an orphan girl. and she gets ripped from the world she knows and gets cast into this future that she doesn't know she really wants for herself. It seems like a fantasy thriller and a fun story, so I am looking forward to reading it really soon. Now, I am currently reading Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. He is one of the authors of the Illuminae Files, and that's just a really good series if you guys haven't read that. But this is an adult fantasy, I believe, and I really hope, because it's got some crazy stuff in it. A lot of violence, and I don't even know how to describe this book. I'm really enjoying it so far. This basically is about a girl who lost her family, and she's on a track to redemption and how she's going to accomplish that. And I don't know, the cover is so cool. And it actually makes sense if you read the book, but I don't want to ruin it. But it's a really awesome cover. I'm listening to this on audiobook and reading it. I find that it's easier because there are a lot of like weird names of places, and it does a lot of jumping back and forth between like the past and present, and I feel that it's hard to understand that in the audiobook right away because there's no like break between them. But so I kind of like reading the physical book better, but the audiobook narrator is pretty good, so I recommend both. But I'm still reading it, so I don't know how I'm gonna like it in the end, but I will let you guys know. Up next, I really hope to get to Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I'm probably murdering that name, I'm sorry. Murdering Jack the Ripper. Anyway, so this is, I don't know, I didn't pick up this book originally because I didn't know how I felt about the synopsis, but it gets such good reviews, and the next one's coming out soon, and it sounds so cool. So I really wanted to start off this series and check it out. But basically it's about a woman who has some bad stuff happen to her. She ends up going into like forensics and studying like forensics. From what I can gather, this is about a girl who's had some bad stuff happen to her, which makes her change her life course. She ends up studying forensics and then goes into trying to solve the case of Jack the Ripper, which is like a famous, I think it's an unsolved case up until this point. Like, people still don't know who it really was and stuff like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think she ends up starting to fall in love with, I don't know if Jack the Ripper himself or him as a character or him as an idea, but seems pretty crazy. So I really hope to get to that soon. Then, last but not least, I'm really hoping to finish up the Infernal Devices series and read Clockwork Princess. I have been kind of putting this off. I've read a few books in between the Clockwork Prince and this one. I just, like I said, I don't really know if I 100% love the way the last one ended, so I'm kind of hesitant to start this one, but we'll see. And I do plan on picking it up really soon. Let me know if it's better than the second one. And yeah, so don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked it. Follow me on Goodreads. I do keep up with it pretty good. Well, I don't know. I update it a lot, let you know what I'm reading, what my progress is. I do some reviews and stuff like that. Talk to me about books. I want a book reading buddy. So comment down below if there's one of these that you want to read with me and you want a buddy read. I'm totally down to buddy read and we can converse and talk. Anyway, let me know. Thank you guys for watching again, and I will see you next time.